Kean University's men's cross-country team recently won the Aggie Invite, the school's first cross-country win since 2003. And a big reason why is the team's head coach, Danielle Todman. Danielle is here to talk to us about her running journey and what we can expect from her team this year. Danielle, thanks so much for coming on this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So, Danielle, how did you first get interested in running and how did it land you at Kean University? Tell me a little about your journey.
Oh, my running journey. Oh, okay. So I ran track in high school, and I ran for Bishop George Hart High School, and then got recruited to run at Bucknell University. And then after, which I thought my running career was over, the United States Air Force had a surprise for me, and I ran for the DoD program. So I ended up running for DoD and both the Air Force after. And then I got a call one day from Mr. Kelly. I thought it was a wrong number. So then he interviewed me. It would be actually 3 years ago. He interviewed me, and I got hired, and been building ever since.
That is fantastic. Now, you have an extensive military background. Can you talk about how your military history, or talk about your military history and how what you learned in the military ties into coaching?
Oh, yeah. I've been in. It will be. I'm in my 19th year, so a lot. You learn a lot, and especially as you promote, you learn different leadership. So coaching is I've learned that it's a different type of leadership and the audience is very different. And what the military has taught me in each level of leadership, from being a senior airman to a non-commissioned officer to now being a senior non-commissioned officer, is learning the audience in which you lead in the seasons of which you lead, right? So I carry a lot of those things into my military career, like in my sporting career, like my coaching and things like that. But what I brought specifically to King, especially since I was charged and trusted to build a sports program, and is to take the time to really study the audience that is in front of me. Um, building, you don't know who you're getting your first season, right? So we started as a club and I already had 11 people that were really interested in running. So then that kind of like, okay, so I had to learn everybody's respect language and then learn their love language. So in the military, you learn to uh, read situationally, body language, and things like that. And that's what I do. I tie in my core values of integrity, service before self, and excellence in all we do. Let that be the foundation in which we grow, because integrity and transparency is what grows excellence. So I, try to foster an environment where my athletes know that they are free to be themselves. And as a leader and as a coach, I will meet them where they're at, and we'll, grow together forward. And that was the big thing for me that I wanted to do as a coach, was just make sure the atmosphere, especially building, because we're still a new program, you know, to build the person, and so then the program could build itself. And how do I do that? Is just learning each person's love language and each person's respect language, and let my athletes know they do have a say in the process. You know what I mean? Because not the process looks the same for everybody, right? So practice might not look the same for every person on the team due to a lot of different variables, but everybody's process will lead to their promise as long as they're open and honest about where they're at as a person first, then an athlete. And I try to coach the person and speak to the person, because the person is who runs. You know what I mean? And then and just learn and continue to learn. And learning, one big thing that I learned this year, especially being a senior NCO, is senior non-commissioned officer, is leadership is continual and continuing evolution in time, right? So you may think you have a grasp on one thing, but I really don't. So as I coach and I coach difference, and I coach changes, those changes are going to constantly refine me and evolve me as I'm evolving, my team is going to evolve. So it's a constantly evolving thing, and be very transparent upfront that we're going to continue to learn each other because we're going to be coming out of different seasons personally, professionally, emotionally, mentally. And those are the big things I try to convey upfront. So I try to take all that in. That's how I approach my coaching. Is more situationally based, audience reading, uh, speaking to the love languages and respect languages of my athletes.
It's a fantastic approach. Now, long distance running is much different than sprinting. What kind of
Yeah.
training goes into getting and staying in shape for these grueling competitions?
Honestly, it's a bit of combination of both. I mean, you have to have some type of speed, to know your pacing. So it's called speed endurance. So knowing the kid's pacing and be comfortable in knowing that pacing, breaking down quarter miles, half miles, miles, so they know they're pacing into the race. And some of those things require to do have speed. You know what I mean? Like I coach certain things like without giving my tips away, but like there's certain things that this year we came in a lot differently with versus other years. Um, Looking at where we align certain strength training, certain plyo training, and certain speed training, and then aligning it with recovery. So I just honestly get their aerobic capacity in the summer to make sure their aerobic capacity is prepared to take on what we're going to grow into. So I preach preparation beats pressure, right? And I never want to put my team in a pressure situation. I always want to put them in preparation situations, right? So we are always prepared to go into where we want to grow to. So, I took a lot of board of lead feedback that I got last year from my team, and a lot of things that internally I looked at as a coaching staff, and especially myself as a head coach, what things went well and what things didn't go well. So then this way we came prepared, So all of our workouts are done up to our championship, and of course we're going to tweak them as we see each person and each champion as they progress. Like, hey, I might rest you this week because I noticed that you still have a little bit of soreness or stuff like that. So this year is a little bit different. So just preparation in the off is going to
Oh,
be prepared to be on. You know what I mean? So this year it's a little bit different. Just getting their aerobic capacity, their body's used to, their heart rate's used to going in that direction. So in the summer is a lot of the prep work.
always good to be prepared. Now, I said team when I introduced you, but you coach both the men's and women's teams. Is your coaching
Yes, I do.
approach, yes, is your coaching approach different for each team?
My coaching approach is not different from each team. My process work is different for each team, right? So recognizing that I look at yesterday's, right? So I look at their yesterday. Where are they coming from? Do they have experience? How? And I look at their times, look at their loads. I ask them to send me workouts that they've done. So then this way I can understand what they might not know, right? And then, okay, I have to ease them into this kind of training, or apply a lot more core training and stuff like that. So from my actions, like I wear two hats in the military. So one of my additional duties is doing fitness. So that has helped me a lot to understand the differences in men and women uh, bodies and what uh, like injury prone things they have. So I know that my men, I love my champions. I love the men's team. They are not flexible. So there's certain things that I have to program more of, right? So my women, there are certain things that I know that cardiovascularly they're good to go. But there are certain things strength wise, like if I do speed endurance and strength, I might put a little bit more wear or tear on my ladies. So then what do I do? So I have specific strength endurance days and core days to correlate, right? As a whole, um, for running, hips, hips, and core. So we have decided that we are going to construct a very unique type of core program based off of the things that prone like known injuries for men and women, and kind of make our own core program for that. So I train them differently. So like I know that my women's team can handle certain um, cardiovascular things, and this year we are doing things very different. This is the first time, like on certain days, my men and women's team are not together. So just because I want them to prepare and be healthy for the long term, and because injuries can lead to being down and it plague on their mental and emotional health. Because they feel like they're not a part of the team. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to do that. You know what I'm saying? So I took a really big um, step back and internalizing myself as a coach, and like, okay, what am I not feeding? What have I not fed them to be better? And we looked at all the workouts, and there were certain things that we were like, okay, this is what we need to do. And it's not just myself. Like um, I have a I have my throwing coach and my one of my other speed coaches and my assistant coach for cross country. They're both they have strength and conditioning certification, so they added a certain component to this training. My one 400 meter, 800 meter coach, she added uh, more mobility to the training because that's what her expertise is. So, and then my speed coach, my sprint coach, she added a speed component to it. So this year it was a more uh, collective project that we came together in with a whole lot of love, and everything, that we came our best in to present this process to them, and it's been cool to watch the fruits of it so far. So,
Well, Danielle, you are off to a great start this year. Keep it up, and thanks so much for talking to us this morning.
well, thank you.
Head over to ONNJ.com for the latest news and sports anytime.